Raw crew, welcome back to the It's Not Fake Fan Cast. Again, we're a fan cast. We don't call ourselves a podcast because podcasts are reserved for journalists and reporters. We're not journalists. We're not reporters. We're not bookers. We're not insiders. We're not producers. We're not wrestlers. We do interview wrestlers now, but we don't own shit. What we have done is spend our time, effort, energy, and money into something that we all love for decades, which is professional wrestling. And now we're spending our time with you, the fans, because we are fans. Let me introduce you to the crew. Joe Wrestling. Man got the illest wrestling tape collection this side of Jump Cornette. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing good, buddy. We got a good guest tonight. I'm looking forward to this.
Oh, it's definitely a special show indeed. My tag team partner, Antonio Marks, the Marks Man, a.k.a. Reg. We call him the Marks Man because he's a grown man, John Cena fan with a 3-second tan. What's up, bro?
Marksman is back in the house, and we've got a great show for y'all tonight. Listen up.
And I am your host, The Dark Show. And if you don't like my nickname, I will pluck your eyeballs out and play ping pong with them shits. Before we get into our show, ladies and gentlemen, let's get into our sponsors. This show is brought to you by King's Cannabis out in Eugene, Oregon. If you're in Oregon, especially in Eugene, please go to your local dispensary and buy King's Cannabis, Eugene, Oregon. All right, another shout out is Keeping It 100 podcast. Shouts out to Conan for shouting us out. And shouts out to Disco Inferno and the Keeping It 100 crew. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a special guest for you tonight. It's actually our first interview on our podcast, our fan cast, and we would like to introduce to you or reintroduce to some, but welcome to our show, former FCW superstar, product of the Monster Factory, Philadelphia's own, Matt Walsh, a.k.a. Joseph Canterbury in FCW. How you doing, brother?
Good. How are you guys doing? I'm happy to be here talking about wrestling. So
awesome to have you, man. You're from Philadelphia. What part of Philly are you from?
I'm from the suburbs, like the Wayne area, Berwyn.
So, okay. We're from Abington.
Oh, cool. Okay, yeah, it's like by Joe. Yeah. So,
yeah, Matt. So, what got you into wrestling as a kid? Like, I know we all started off as young fans and all that. Who were you watching?
Ultimate Warrior. I was a Warrior guy.
It's a fantastic answer.
Yeah, and it's funny because when I was in FCW in it was 2009, and they would always, Dr. Tom would always ask, like, I do something wrong or whatever. Like, who did you watch, girl? Who'd you? And back then you could not mention his name. You know what I mean? So I try to come up with something. I'd be, Triple H, Hulk Hogan. You know what I mean? And but no, I loved Warrior growing up. So I don't know. That's just you can't even describe why, and that's why
I know.
Walsh, how old were you when you started watching wrestling?
I think it was SummerSlam with Savage and Zeus. So I think that was 89, right?
89, yeah.
So it would have been 7, I guess.
I got you.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right, so you're basically a fan all through the 90s.
Yeah. I actually took a break. I actually didn't watch during the the Shawn Michaels male stripper area from 95 to I started again in 97. Once
New generation era, dude. We all the only time in my life that I didn't watch wrestling religiously was 94 and 95, and then I started watching again in 96.
Yeah. It must, be my age or whatever. It was because I was going from being a kid to a teenager, and then it became cool for teenagers to watch it. Once the Attitude Era started. So once the WrestleMania with Bret Hart and Stone Cold, that's pretty much when I came back.
Yeah, I call that the dead era around that time. Because I
never heard that. That's good though. I like that.
Yes, it was definitely the dead era because that's when the ratings were down. Bret Hart couldn't draw a dime, you know what I mean? But it came back with Attitude and NWO kind of at the same time.
Yeah, with Austin and the NWO.
So it takes a special kind of motherfucker to want to become a wrestler, man. I mean, you got to be kind of thrown. What made you? Did you play sports in high school or football like other guys?
You know what? No. Well, I mean, I played lacrosse. So but my thing was the gym. I'm very obsessive about stuff. Like you said, I become a wrestler, whatever. You gotta kind of have something,
something off.
Yeah, something off. That's true. So just obsessed with the gym basically. I played
something got to be off.
But I started working out because of wrestling. I wanted to look like, you know what I mean? Whether it be the Ultimate Warrior, Triple H, all those guys, you know what I mean? So I got fascinated because I was just, a skinny kid or whatever. And so what happened was, it was one of those things that's always in the back of my mind because I loved wrestling. And I started to get to an age after college where the guys were starting to be like my age, like I guess Randy Orton's probably like 2 or 3 years older than me. And I'm like, man, if I'm gonna do this, like, you know, I don't know if I was ever like, it was always in the back of my mind is the best way I could describe it. And I actually met Blue Meanie at like a radio thing in the area. And I think I was kind of, you know, had some drinks in me or something. I was like, oh, I want to do it. And he told me, you know, he told me to go to Monster Factory and this and that. And I was like, well, I told him I was going to do it. I think I have to follow through now. It's basically what happened. So, you know, I just took it kind of one day at a time and then went to the Monster Factory, which was much different, by the way, than the Monster Factory now. When I was there, what's his name? Larry Sharp was the owner. But he wasn't there physically. He was either like in rehab or he was sick or something like that. So it was just like like this empty, Joe was there. It was like this empty, like, it was like it wasn't even like where, it was like a storage locker. It was like literally like, and there was an really old ring in there with like actual ropes. And like, it was just a bunch of guys doing moves. Like this guy.
Like actual ropes, like the ropes that you tie horses up with and shit.
Correct. Yeah. like it was
Be
really
surprised, man.
really JoJo. So so anyway, so I was doing that and yeah, it just seemed shady, kind of like is the best word. Joe was there. There was like no one there, and like
I loved it. Walsh would send me these pictures of him doing like top wrist locks at the Monster Factory like, during practice, and I was like, "This is great." I couldn't wait to go.
It's funny because I don't remember, like, it was just like guys doing moves, and then like they'd have birthday parties, and we'd like put on these matches for him and stuff. And
Project X.
Yeah, Project X. Who else? Like some of the guys were in high school. One of the guys now. He's in Ring of Honor. He just wrestled Mike EC3, Brian Johnson. He was like in high school when I was there. He was like talking about going to the prom and stuff. But it was like there was no talk of psychology or any of that business, or even like, I mean, they didn't even tell you like what side to turn to, and you know, the chain wrestling and what to do, selling, none of that stuff. It was just like, all right, you know, I can do this move, and blah,
so you were just like, let's get in the ring and have fun.
It was a backyard situation.
It wasn't really a practice.
It was a backyard wrestling situation. I know that I see, you know, online now, and I see, you know, all the guys from Monster Factory now, like, you know, Riddle and Damian Priest, all those guys. I mean, it's obviously it's really successful now. And it looks like a really, you know, legit facility. But when I was there, it was literally like a ring in somebody's shed and like a bunch of guys that, you know, liked wrestling.
What year was that when you started at the Monster Factory? Was that 07 or 08?
It was at the end of 07. So it was like on and off for like not even a year really. So then after like whatever it was, 6 months, it just seemed shady. And I was like, I mean, I wasn't old, but I think I just turned 26. And like, I was like, if I was going to do it, I think I actually read Batista's book, and he was sort of in a similar situation. And where he was on the older end, and he's like, I'm giving myself a year. I'm going to make a business plan and see what I can do with it. So it just seemed shady. You know what I mean? So eventually I found, you would say hi, Olivia? So it just seemed shady. So this is like, I mean, obviously the internet was going on, but this is before social media, all that stuff. It was like, I found this like email on like a corporate, WWE's corporate site for like Steve Kern from, you know, FCW. It was like FCW developmental. So I went to it and I just emailed Steve and I said, hey, you know, hey, I've been trying to wrestle, but the place seems shady is basically what I said. And I'm, you know, I'm 26 and, you know, I want to give this a legit shot, but it doesn't seem like this is the right place. And he said, why don't you come down for a tryout? And this is in like right after Labor Day of 08. And I'm like, no, I'm not ready for that. You know, I just, you know, I'm just asking you where to train. He's like, no, we'll just come down. We'll take a look at you. And I was like, you know what? Whatever, Liz, they're just gonna say no. You know what I mean? So anyway, so I was like, whatever. So it was like the first like talent evaluation thing. So I went down there and
this is Orlando, right?
Tampa.
Tampa, okay, Tampa.
It was in Tampa. So it was in
you bump in and all that good stuff.
What's up?
have you bump in and all that good stuff, like that basics?
Yeah. It was like they had like 2 camps, and they put me in like the beginner camp because like I didn't know.
Who were the trainers down there when you were trying out?
Steve Kern, Norman Smiley, Billy Kidman, Dusty Rhodes, and that was it. Oh, Dr. Tom, of course. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's pretty awesome though. Who were the head trainers at Monster Factory when you were there?
Guy's name was Ed Atlas.
Okay.
And he was a character. And Jim Molno, who was a ref in ECW, was there, but I don't remember him doing it. He was a decent guy, but I don't remember him doing any of the like in ring or anything. I remember him just kind of like being there more or less. So, did
you train with anybody at Monster Factory that eventually would go on to actually?
The closest thing would be Brian Johnson. Now he's in Ring of Honor.
Okay.
Yeah, it was like really like, and like I did the indies after WWE, so like it was like really, and I trained a few places after FCW too. I went and trained with the Dudley Boys. I trained with Samu like a few times.
Still in you, like, of course.
Yeah, so it's like the place was extremely shady. It was backyard. Yeah, so Brian Johnson started there. That's the he would be it. I think when Sheamus passed through it, it was sort of like at the tail end of when it was legit, and then but I don't know how long he was there. So
what was the FCW trial like? I mean, it had to be nerve-wracking, like walking into that.
You know what's funny about that and wrestling in general? Everybody's on kind of pins and needles. Well, one of the things in the Monster Factory, there was no discussion about like the wrestling culture, which is a huge thing, right? Very important in terms of like the politics and just, you shake everybody's hand and blah, blah, blah. You thank everybody for everything, and all that stuff. And none of that stuff is discussed in the Monster Factory. So anyway, so I went in, and it was like, there's probably like a few guys like me who had like never been in a ring, or if they'd been in a ring, they're like me, they didn't understand anything about the business, weren't smart enough to the business, they would say. And then there's other guys, and it was just it was an open tryout, but they didn't advertise it that well. So actually they did sign a good amount of people. I was the only one they announced, but with me they signed Mike Hutter, who's EC3, and we're still kind of friendly, and 2 of the other guys, the Riggs brothers, Byron Wilcox, who was there with me. So anyway, so they had it leading up, and then you did a promo on a match at the end of the week. I didn't do a whole lot. They just looked at me basically. So anyway, so what I was saying is everyone gets so nervous. I wasn't nervous because I was just like, what's the worst that's going to happen? They're going to say no, and I wasn't planning on getting the job anyway. I mean, I had a full-time job at home, and like all the stuff, like I owned a house, and I wasn't really, I loved wrestling, but at that point it wasn't a legit, it wasn't like I actually thought it was going to happen. So like the night before, someone else, I think Natty Neidhart actually told me that I was going to get signed, and I was just like, I don't think so. I'll believe it when I hear it. And yeah, at the end they did the things, and they signed me. They just it's kind of the opposite of what's been going on recently in NXT, where they said there's just something about me, and they hired me based on that, which actually got into some
That's
problems.
a good thing, right?
It was a good thing, but you guys think she should give the dogs a treat?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
And some begging strips.
So So I mean, so that's what happened, and
what did that feel like? Like,
well, it was surreal. I mean, that's
surreal, right?
Yeah, very surreal, and and you go. It was just. I mean, yeah. It obviously, I've had these milestones now, like my kids being born and whatnot, but it was by far the best day of my life. Getting that news at that point. So there was that, but what I did not know, because I didn't know about the. So anyway, so I think the fact that I wasn't nervous about it helped. That's what I was because I was confident, and I was just like I normally would be, and did what I had to in the ring, and did what they told me to do. In wrestling, everybody's on, it's pins and needles, and they're so uptight about, potentially getting a job or not getting a job, or Meltzer finding out or whatever. And so I got the job. It was great, and I was just really happy. And then I learned later that everybody else there wasn't going to be as happy for me who got the contract, because John Laurinaitis liked my eyes. And I learned that the hard way. So
okay,
yeah.
So that was my next question.
Walsh, was that a Shawn Michaels, Vince McMahon situation?
I wish I knew. I would have did. Hey man, the money's right. I would have.
Yeah.
Pat Patterson style, bro.
Yeah, look what it did for HBK and probably Roman Reigns too.
Yeah, if it was up to Pat Patterson, he'd have them boys on the corner.
Well, as a matter of fact, I do believe Pat Patterson was interested in Walsh.
Me and Pat Patterson.
I mean, you're his type, man. Like he's kind of his type.
Cool. I always like Pat Patterson. Yeah. Nothing funny happened, but
you're definitely his type. So who's in that locker room at that time?
It's like I should have brought up, because I had a magazine. And it's you think about it now. I mean, it's pretty good. So Sheamus, Drew McIntyre, Bray Wyatt. Me and Bray Wyatt actually started at the same time. It was like me, him, Wes Briscoe, and Kip Christensen, who was Eli Cottonwood. He's like 7'2" or something, who kind of did the drills together. Bray Wyatt, Mike Hutter, who's EC3 now, Dave Otunga, who's a friend of mine, Byron Saxton, a friend of mine, TJ Wilson, Harry Smith was there.
Wow.
Ryback, Wade Barrett. I'm probably forgetting some. Of the girls, like Alicia Fox was there, Rosa Mendez.
You just made a mod's day.
What's that?
You said Alicia Fox. You just made a mod's day.
Oh man, okay, yeah. So she was cool. So it was funny when I went for the tryout. I saw her, and she was the first person who I recognized, because she was part of that Edge thing where she was like the wedding or whatever. And that's the thing.
I forgot about that. Oh,
yeah, so
the cheating wedding planner.
I forgot. Yeah, and I forgot one of my favorite people there was Steve Lewington, who was DJ Gabriel, who she managed in ECW, so he was there too. So I went there.
That was Justin Gabriel, right, in NXT.
Oh no, Justin was there. Justin was there too.
Okay. So DJ Gabriel was somebody else.
DJ Gabriel was in ECW. He did the dancing gimmick, and Alicia Fox was his manager.
Okay.
But yeah, PJ was there. Justin Gabriel was there too. I'm probably forgetting a bunch of guys. Wes Briscoe. I forgot my one of my best friends there was Abraham Washington.
Oh yeah, I remember Abraham Washington.
Oh, not that name. Everybody remembers Abraham Washington.
You want to talk about untapped potential with that guy, man. His promos were insane, and I was part of his little stable, and he was it was in 2009, so he was like Obama. That was his gimmick.
Right.
Perfect example of how one line will mess up everything.
Yeah. One line destroyed the square.
Wow, and then his whole thing, man. I was a huge fan of him. He was the first one to come out live mic manager, on Raw.
No. And it's just, that's what, it's that's the thing with wrestling. You just you never know. We thought he was going to be the next Rock. And another guy who I was there with, I was friends with too, was Alex Riley. And another guy, really cool. I'll be forgetting people I feel bad about afterwards.
Wasn't Ziggler with you?
What's up?
Wasn't Ziggler with you?
Ziggler was just getting out as I was getting in. And Ziggler was kind of just on main TV then, so he would still pop in for TV and stuff, or I'd see him at the gym, but he wasn't required to be there when I was there. And the same thing with the Bella Twins, they would pop in, but they were just kind of getting on main TV. So Hager, the Swagger or whatever, same thing with him. Tyrone Evans, who was in Nexus, he was there too. Heath Slater was there. So when I went to the tryout, I was still a mark, so I'd see those guys around TV.
So what was that transition like? Like you had to move to Florida. You basically had to move your life to Florida.
Yeah.
Right.
So, and they didn't give me much time either. And I owned a house. I had a pretty good job, and it was like they only gave me like a month, so it was, it wasn't much time. I did it. I got it done. It was a bit of a culture shock. It was actually a really big culture shock because I was never. I'm from the area. I went to college in the area. I did live there, but that was my first time living, somewhere else, and I wasn't even really planning on it. So it was a bit of a culture shock.
Did they give you housing or like help you find a place?
I lived where I actually had two places. Like I lived where most of the other guys lived. There were these apartments called Camden Bayside. And they were bad. They were bad apartments. So all the guys lived there, and it was funny because Billy Kidman, like when I got my contract, we're talking, and they were talking about that stuff. He's like, dude, do not live in Camden Bayside. Everybody lives there, but it's like, and so when I got there, he's like, dude, I told you not to live in Camden Bay. He was right. I had to break my lease. My dog would, piss all over the rugs and stuff. I had to break my lease for all this money. But anyway, yeah, they didn't have. Oh, another guy, Fandango was there too, Johnny Curtis. Oh, and Gabe Tuft, Gabby Tuft, and I'm remembering all the guys now. But yeah, no, I mean they suggested a few places, but that was it. I was on my own to get down there in a month, and
wow.
Yeah, so so that was about it.
So what was the atmosphere in that locker room like at that time?
Towards me?
I mean, yeah, towards you or in general. I mean,
just in general, man. Like,
it's funny.
Both towards you and in general. Yeah.
Yeah, competitive. And it's funny because like I'm saying all these names now, and I have a lot of positive memories and that kind of stuff. And for the most part, that's true. And some people I've just become friends with after the experience that maybe I wasn't the best friends with when I was there. Or people have grown up, have families and get out of the business, whatever. But there was, I had some friends there, but people were not happy about me just getting a contract because of,
wow.
Well, I can't answer that question in case Walsh is going to be humble or modest here. It's because he looks like $1 million. He's probably 6 foot, 6'1". He looks like a superstar. He's hilarious. Real funny guy, real smart guy. So obviously they were threatened by him, and from everything we know, how insecure people in the wrestling business are. I mean, that's going to be my answer, because I talked to Walsh a lot when he was living down there. We spoke all the time. We texted and talked on the phone, and he told me a lot of things were going on. So it was just a straight jealousy thing from the time he got there.
So he got a lot of hate.
Definitely,
yeah.
He did.
And that's so what Joe said is 100% true. And one of the things, like looking back on it now, hindsight's 2020, is when I said I didn't know, I wasn't smart enough to the business. I didn't get it, so I just tried to be. I was like, well, you know what? I'm just gonna be so nice and humble, and and that was unfortunately it was kind of the wrong. I just got even more, just shit on because I just got stepped. It was like I just got. I watch my language. I got it's like with dogs or whatever. It's like if they sense you're timid, they just beat you down. They sense you. It's like they sense the lack of confidence.
Bounce all over you.
Yeah, so I was like kind of like trying to be Mr. Nice Guy, and in hindsight, I should have just been like, look, I'm here. I was a huge mark. I want to do the best I can, and
can you give us some examples of getting shit on, so to speak?
Yeah. Well, so
when did that start, Walsh? When did you first start realizing that?
Pretty quick.
Yeah.
Very quickly. And that's so when you were talking about when I was talking about how it was the best day of my life and I was so happy and all that, and surreal. A problem was pretty much right when I got down there, it was the opposite of what I was expecting, where people just were not happy about me being there. And I'm somebody, I think that
just based on the way you look, just from the beginning, as soon as they saw you, they just fuck this guy.
Yeah, and just getting the contract without, people telling me how they were sleeping in the cars and all that stuff. And I just got the contract. Meanwhile, I left it, like, I won't even get into that. But like it so it was like I was so excited. And then I got there, and people were so not excited for me to be there.
Do you think that you fit the mold of what they wanted, like what they saw, like what
yeah,
in you was what they wanted to be, but like he just kind of had it more over them, because we all know that Vince kind of thinks a certain way. He like wants a certain look, and where you fit that better than them, they're like, man, this dude's just gonna get it.
There's no question that Walsh looks better than everyone there. I mean, maybe Walsh, maybe there were a couple other guys in shape. But I mean, Walsh looks better than most of the guys on the main roster right now. And that's not even up for debate. So
he looks like a clone of Seth a little bit. Like,
what's that?
I say he looks like a clone of Seth Rollins a little bit.
No. Like, Seth Rollins doesn't have half the physique that Walsh has. Not even close.
I can only see so much.
Yeah, no, it's not even close. Two different galaxies.
So hold on. So can you give us something specific that happened, maybe where you really felt like, damn, I'm getting trashed here, or you know what I mean?
So I mean, well, first off, what we were talking about, it was the problem is that there was a disconnect between, and John Laurinaitis called me when I got my contract, how excited he was. They had big plans of mine, which they didn't do for other people either, right? I think that got out. And so it wasn't just the guys either, it was the trainers too. And they would tell me like Dusty Rhodes, I'll preface this that everybody seems to love Dusty Rhodes, and I'm probably about to be the first person that says something negative about him, but I have a lot to say negative about him. So maybe you guys will make some news here or something like that. But he was a total dickhead to me, and totally disrespectful. And I have nothing good to say about my experience with him. So, you know, when I pass away, there'll probably be more people saying bad stuff about me that said about him. So, you know, that's a compliment to him. Everybody seems to love him. But
Walsh, what was the story? Didn't you have to sign autographs next to Dusty Rhodes?
Yeah. So, like, as part of paying our dues, and trust me, dude, I paid more dues than anybody through the developmental, I guarantee you. So, so we had to sell tickets, right? So we're selling tickets to the show, and I'm selling tickets, but like I'm also on the show, and I'm in the magazine, right? So I'm selling the tickets, and it's also an autograph signing for with Dusty Rhodes and Goldust. So I'm next to them, and you know, I'm selling tickets, whatever, and like. So some kid, they get their autograph, and some kid asked me for mine. So, you know, I write it. And Dusty just goes, oh man, American Dream, Dusty Rhodes. He signed autographs next to this Joseph Canterbury, you know, like that. But he was like so pissed off. It wasn't like it sounds. I'm making it sound funnier than it was. And like,
oh, it's coming out great.
He was dead serious about it, but it was like anything. It was like, there was one time we did an angle where like I was a Secret Service agent and Steve Kern came and like shit canned me out of the ring, and like Dusty wanted like my sunglasses that I wore to break. And so he said that kind of quickly. So I was just like, hey, you know, do you want the sunglasses to break? Because I'm not going to wear my good ones if and I'm talking about Ray-Ban, you know, $100 sunglasses. He's like, oh man, I don't know, you know, I go to the gas station for my sunglasses and this and that, and like then I see these like things on him and Ric Flair like having competition between who can spend more money on a fur coat, you know what I mean? Like it's just anything I said with this guy. He told me I had no talent. He told me this in front of everybody. He didn't understand why I was there. Ty, who was Ty Bailey, and John Laurinaitis liked me, but he did not like me. So he saw no talent. Like it just, and it wasn't like a motivational. It was just like straight up. And also, I am 100% responsible for the Dashing Cody Rhodes gimmick.
Wow.
It's his most, I'm like, I don't know if you guys watched Seinfeld, but when they had the reality tour, the Kramer reality tour with Kenny Kramer, I could do the, you know, Dashing Cody Rhodes reality tour because it was 100% my gimmick.
Tell that story.
Yeah. So, so like again, and again, one of the things with me getting heat when I got there was the dirt sheets, right? So I experienced that right away. Like, and I called the office about it, and they're like, oh, it's bullshit. Nobody cares. But you know, it's on the internet. So like, it was like, you know, it said I was like a model and a bodybuilder. I did do some fitness modeling or whatever. Back, you know, so that became my thing. Like, oh, he's a model, and then, you know what I mean, they hired him, and so like, so they wanted. So some people suggested I do like a model gimmick, and like, was fitness. It was fitness minded. I like working out. You know what I mean? Like it's not like I'm, you know, like Fabio or whatever. So I didn't really want to do that. So I came up with the idea to just get out there. If you guys have ever seen American Psycho,
absolutely.
Yeah, so I love that movie. I mean, my dog's name was Bateman, and I got out there and would just, in a very monotone, I would just talk about fucking clothing. Like what I did a whole promo about jeans, like the kind of jeans that I wore, and that's when like it started for me kind of click with the promos. They started to get a little better. It sounds ridiculous, and it was, but it's a character. So then, you know, Dusty was asking me about it. And he had never heard of American Psycho, and he had his assistant Matt Martellano. He's like, "Yeah, get that movie for me or whatever." So then that was going well, and then also he's just like, "Yeah, we need to see something different from you. See something different from you. You know, we don't want to see this." And then there's another thing where he's like, "Well, what are you gonna do after?" And I'm like, "Well, I'd like to like in a match get in there, and like if somebody touches my face, just snap and just completely change my style and flip out because like somebody had affected my face." And you know, they did that down the road. So anyway, so I'm at home a few months later, and I see the vignette from American Psycho where he has the mask as the showers. It's literally a direct copy from American Psycho. And I was like, so fucking pissed off.
Yeah.
So I know that kind of thing happens in wrestling, but it's just because I had such a negative experience. And then like a few years later, I was part of Triple H's entrance at WrestleMania 27. And I was backstage and like, you know, everyone's saying hi to me and this and that. And Dusty sees me, and just looks the other way. I'm just like, fuck you, you know what I mean? Like it was total disrespect then. Like I don't know why he didn't like me. You know, but he didn't like me, and I don't have a favorable opinion of him because he didn't treat me with respect. And anybody that doesn't treat other people with respect for no reason, I just, you know, that was my, and literally nobody else there I don't think had this experience with him. So something about me seemed to grind his gears. He also made Abraham Washington say something about me the week after I'd been released on TV. Like, I don't know what it was. The dude didn't like me. Like I said, great talent, incredible talent, you know? I mean, and for pretty much everyone else's account, great, they liked him.
So were there any wrestlers that had a problem with you directly that you knew, or did they do anything to you?
This is one of those things where a lot of the ones that did stuff to me that I would straight up call assault, have seemed to grow up and like I'm cool with now. So I don't say anything, but there was a lot of practicing moves on me before the shows. And I mean, straight up, like I'm the first one. I don't think he did it on purpose, but Drew McIntyre, I'm the first one that took his the Future Shock DDT, and I got straight up spiked in the head. Sheamus came over, checked my eyes for concussion, and then the guys just kept doing it. I mean, there's like, I mean, they were literally the one time I took like, I think it might have been 27. Yeah, I kind of don't want to name anybody, but like I'll say this: Ryback came up to me, and actually, a lot of people came up. It wasn't right. It wasn't right, and it wasn't to train me or anything like that. It was, they didn't like me, and they didn't want me there, and you know, so I thought that it was for kind of like well, it's straight up hazing, really, but I thought that it was
hazing.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I thought that it was because the reason I was treated, or because I was treated so bad, I thought for sure that there was a reason, and that I was for sure gonna get, you know, be on TV, and they had, and like again, Lauren Ice told me they had big plans for me and stuff. So
you didn't bang Melina too, did you?
What's that?
I said you didn't bang Melina, did you?
No, the thing is, the reason I didn't know what to believe, but other people didn't get that phone call. Like I had kind of like a personal call from them that other people didn't.
Now, without saying any names, like what, like when you said assault, like they were just taking crazy liberties with you, or
back to back moves for like about an hour, just bumping, get up, bumping. Like, and it was a joke too. Like, I know the one time somebody came, and it might have been like Santino. I think it was somebody from the main roster, or maybe it was like Mason Rock. And like, I remember Norman Smiley just being like, "Oh, this is the best thing he's done here." He's like, "Oh yeah, we make him tough here." You know what I mean? And the thing is, I was like, okay, I guess this is part of it or whatever. But the reason I really have a negative thing is it wasn't. They had no plans for me, so they just straight up assaulted me. And to be honest with you, we'll get into this. This is I don't know if you guys are expecting this, but yeah, I fucking permanent brain damage from it. And
wow, what from your time at FCW?
Among other things, I went down there. I had a diagnosis for ADHD, and I have 6 diagnoses now, and they're all from the experience.
Wow. Wow, so it was that bad.
Well, I think they were hitting Walsh with moves that he didn't really know how to take.
Yeah, I didn't know how to take.
It sounds like they were experimenting if he's the first one that took the future shot.
So you weren't in the performance center, like learning, or they just stuck you right in FCW and said, "Let's go"?
Yeah, that's basically what happened. There was a few, like when I said like Bray Wyatt and stuff, like we were, and then they had like a night show thing at night, like where people could pay to train. I would go just to get extra reps in or whatever. That was fine. Like anything that was part of training, I was fine with, and I never got hurt when I was in my training. It was this shit that was done to pop the boys, as they would say. And just a bunch of people standing around the ring laughing, but the trainers saw it. They knew it was going on, and they didn't do anything about it because they didn't want me there either. So
at the time this was happening, you just thought this was normal, or you knew you were getting fucked with?
Did you say Drew? Did you say Drew or me?
No. So at that time, while this was happening, did you just think that this was just normal due paying, or?
Yeah, well, I thought that because it was so ridiculous, that for sure it was part of a bigger plan. That, again, I'm naive. I don't know how the business works, because there's no way they could be treating me that bad for no reason. And there's no way the trainers would allow it. And I mean, it's a Fortune 500 company. Could you imagine getting a job at like, I don't know, Coca-Cola or whatever, and then they just beat the shit out of you for 6 months? How can that be? It wasn't part of training, is what I'm saying. Like, yeah, or they would put me in a match, and then guys would just run in the middle of the match and give me moves I didn't know how to take. You know what I mean? Like, and then everyone would just laugh about it, like the trainers and everybody. So
there was no like working with the guys in Performance Center to kind of learn how to take their moves and their style.
Yeah, this kind of took a dark turn. To be honest with you, I thought this would be more interesting for you guys, and would probably get more views or more whatever listens.
Well, Walsh, it's your story, man. I mean, it is.
I mean, this is I mean, it's true.
We're not here to put on shows. We're here because fans, they want to know this stuff.
We'll also talk about Triple H and the horse that fell through the stage. But, But so if you just want like the regular generic stuff, I mean, I
want to hear about like your story.
We'll save this for the dark tapes.
I've been watching I watched all those Dark Side of the Rings. I thought this would be more interesting for you guys than what,
definitely. No, this is going up. This is getting uploaded.
Yeah.
I'm not even I don't even think we're going to edit it. Like, we might splice in some pictures or something, but this is all going up.
I had some questions of my own, a little lighter tone, man. When you got in, man, what was the style you preferred to stick with? I mean, was it collegiate? Was it powerhouse? Was it quick? Like,
Dave.
Changing the tone, right?
You mean watching or doing?
Doing you.
Because of the situation, I was just trying to protect myself. So,
like, how bad was it? Like, well, how many matches? Well, this always happened, not in training and not in matches, but during this kind of pre-show ritual thing where the boys are standing around the ring while you take
it
a bunch of finishers.
I got brought up to TV in about the middle of in March. I was if you guys remember that house invasion with Randy Orton and Triple H.
Absolutely.
You remember that? Yeah. So I was one of the cops that came and arrested Triple H. And it seemed like after that, it just went downhill for me. I mean, it was immediate, but it was like, and then at the end, I had a singles match, my first singles match at a house show, and I got a really good reaction from the crowd. And I'll give Dr. Tom, full credit for that, because he like kind of coached me to fire up, and he scared me if I didn't fire up right, and I did. I might have even like cursed. I was like, afterwards, I was like, I think I might have said, get the F up or something like that. But I got a great reaction, and I was only there a few more weeks, but it might have been the best reaction on the show, but it was a rough few weeks after that. And
yeah, I actually watched your debut match, your TV debut against Sheamus. I think they said it was your TV debut. That was a pretty quick match there. How many times were you on TV?
I don't have a problem. I don't have a problem with that. I mean, yeah.
Right. How many times were you on TV though after that?
FCW TV?
Yeah, FCW TV.
I was on pretty much every week because I was part of Abraham Washington's group, the agents. So you get back, they're still online. There's like,
need to go back.
I was doing something. I didn't have a match every week. I had a few more matches, but some weeks I would just like I said, the one week, I got thrown out by Steve Kern, or, he put me to sleep. Like there's different angles and stuff like that. But then I had another match against Sheamus where it was like it was me and Mike and Tavita, who's Tonga, who's another guy who's doing well now in Japan, and it's yeah. So I did something on TV every week, so I learned. Yeah, I learned a ton about the business. It's just unfortunately I was also being abused there.
So besides like the endless finishers, what was that it, or did you experience other things also?
Yeah, there was just a lot of psychological stuff too. It's just weird stuff. They told me to break up with my girlfriend. It's my wife now. When I got my contract. Like, why does that even? You know what I mean? Like just there's a lot of weird like head games and stuff like that. I guess. Yeah, I'm trying to think about other good stories for you, but yeah, it was messed up. Yeah, it was messed up straight up.
Walsh, I got one for you. So when you did that the shoot with Orton and Triple H, that home invasion thing, what was the actual the process of the shoot like? Because obviously it was sort of like a movie the way they did it on TV, and you were there. Tell us a little bit about that. Was Randy Orton with Killer Lights in his dip or whatever it was?
Yeah. So Orton was, and that, all right. So that's when I start to kind of crack too, right? So again, I'm 26 years old. I went to college. I have a good office job. I own a house, and I gave all that up to do this, and I'm just getting the shit kicked out of me, right? And at this point, I'm not a mark anymore, so I'm used to seeing Randy Orton and all this. Who's great, by the way. I still enjoy watching Randy wrestle. But I'm just saying that I'm not a mark anymore, so it's like. But yeah, I'm at the so we're at the house invasion, and they cut all my hair off, so that I was pissed off, and just kind of cracked about it because there's just one thing after another, and I was like, are they just doing this to fuck with me? And in hindsight, it might not have been, but there's so much stuff that they were, that it was the first time I kind of was like, I got verbally pissed off. Yeah, but anyway, so Orton's there, and there's this kid who comes over to ask him for an autograph, and it's like a residential development, and he's just like, yeah, your parents have any beers? Like it's like 3 in the afternoon or whatever. He's like, you go grab me a few beers over there, and then kind of so the kid comes back, and Orton's just like chilling, drinking.
That's great.
No, not just a casual beer or two, but I just thought it was so funny that he did that.
Hilarious. You said Triple H was pretty cool, didn't you?
Triple H was cool. It was me and Mike, EC3, and PJ Black, who's Justin Gabriel or whatever. They didn't use PJ, but you'll see Mike if you watch the video. EC3, and but they also had some real cops, and that's kind of a funny story too. And they're just these really overweight, older guys. And Triple H gets there. He looks at me and EC3 and PJ Black, and then the two really out of shape older guys. He goes, oh, I wonder which ones the real cops are.
That's cool. What when you said, was Vince there at the actual shoot?
Yeah, we were there. Everything you hear about Vince is true. I mean, we were there, I want to say till 4 a.m. And that ended up being one of 2 times where this happened with Vince, that I was part of something. And then it was the night before Raw, so we did Raw the next day. I was like, we got back to the hotel or whatever, and I was like 6 of them. I was like, how am I gonna get up? And we still went to the gym the next morning and all that. But like, it's crazy. Yeah, he just keeps going, and it's like he's such a perfectionist that he. And again, I have nothing bad to say about Vince McMahon, John Laurinaitis, any of those people. I'm thankful they gave me the opportunity. Unfortunately, I don't think that the system they had in place of just shipping them to somebody and not overseeing it, I got messed up from that. But I'm not gonna say anything bad about Vince or Johnny or any of those people. But yeah, complete perfectionist. It was like he wanted everything to be perfect, and it was like there were such small little changes, like everything. And this is 3, 4 in the morning. He's going over, I kind of forget the examples. But
How many takes would you say that there was during that whole process?
He got there late too. I don't know.
What I'm saying is, like, what would you say? So there were changes and everything to it.
Yeah, and I don't think they even ended up like sticking. And the other part of that story that's kind of funny is the real cops were like giving Vince McMahon, like, they're like, no, this would never happen. Like they're telling Vince what to do. They're like, no, we're not doing it this way, And everybody around, like, Michael Hayes and like Johnny Ace and like everybody else that's there is like kind of like what do we do? What do we do? These guys are talking back to Vince, and I forget what they were saying, but it was just like, it was so late. And that's, to his credit, everything you hear about is true. He's a perfectionist, and I'm sure he was up the next morning, working out, and all that stuff.
So I'm going to run this back to when you were talking about your schedule and how you went to TV and you had to shoot till 4 o'clock in the morning, and you got in and went to the gym. When you were in FCW, what was if you remember, what was a normal day like? What was your schedule like?
Yeah, I'll get into that. By the way, because I'm like, I have a lot of these stories, and even probably even like with Joe, I do have PTSD, like diagnosed, like it's not a joke. For a while, I didn't talk about this stuff. So now, once I start talking about it, I keep talking about it. So, if you want to just chop this up and do like a different podcast down the road or something like that, we could.
Walsh, this is good. This is really good stuff.
Yeah, this is great, bro.
Don't open the floodgates if you can't swim, bro.
Yeah,
let it flow.
I think the fact that I'm not in the business helps too, because I'm not trying. People are so paranoid about stuff,
Exactly.
Yeah. So, but yeah, if there's anything I can do to help, so you might want to do that, because I'm looking at the clock myself now, and I'm like,
Man, we would love to have you back. I was talking to Joe earlier. If this works out, like I said, we're a new podcast, we're a new show, and we're trying to like really do something different. And so far, it's been okay. Conan actually took a look at our stuff and sent me an inbox on Twitter, and then gave us a shout out on the show. So I was saying, if anytime you want to come on, especially you have like an expert opinion, you know what I mean? And
yeah, I still watch, and it's
So what do you see now compared to what we're talking 12 years ago or so, like that? Like
I think, and it happened right at I was like probably one at the end. Maybe I didn't give where they stopped hiring people for their looks, and then they went the opposite direction, and I think they went too far in the opposite direction, and maybe somewhere in the middle is the right way to do it. It's a TV show, so you have to look the part. There has to be like the X Factor or whatever, and it's not just all. There's a time and place for just in-ring stuff, and but you have to have larger than life personalities. And
the thing that you say that makes the most sense to me when we talk, is Walsh and I basically text about wrestling and working out all day, every day, is that Walsh says, like, to him, the bell to bell doesn't matter if I don't care about the person, if I don't care about the individual, right? If I don't care about and you're right, and you're right about that. You're absolutely right about that.
Yeah, I think the psychology of wrestling is what us fans don't really understand. Like, we see the finished product in front of us, But
yeah,
what we don't see is the process. You know, like what type of mindset you got to put yourself in. It's basically acting, but you're performing, you know, in front of a live audience.
yeah, and everybody has a thing like the guy, obviously, like I said, Ultimate Warrior hit that in the ring. Obviously, not the best. Guy like my favorite in the ring was is Bret Hart, right? Just his style so smooth.
Yo, you just made my day, bro.
Yeah, so
I can't stand it.
But when you go back along,
I think Bret Hart is the most overrated wrestler in history of wrestling. He wrestled the same match for 30 years and sucked on the mic.
He was my superhero growing up.
Man. I think Bret Hart was fantastic. He's one
once
of my
he beat Yokozuna, man,
ever.
like that was Superman over Doomsday to me.
I admit I'm in the minority with this, but I'm just saying. But that's a story for another day.
I'm with like where people don't agree with me on. But so I know how you feel. But yeah, he's my favorite in the ring. But there has to be, but you have to care about the character. And if it's just a good match, like I mean, I don't know. And it's too quick too. Like I said, I have ADHD, not from wrestling. Sometimes it's just they lose me when it's just too quick.
That's my problem with a lot of what Seth Rollins does. It's just the 3,000 miles an hour, no psychology, blah blah blah. Like Seth Rollins to me hasn't been good since 2015, and he's the one that. What's that?
The Edge match was great, but Edge was probably calling it or whatever.
Edge carried that match, but I completely agree with you. That was fantastic.
Well, the Cesaro match was awesome too.
I didn't see that one, but I should probably go back and watch it. But yeah,
I have to watch that one.
Oh, that's another problem now. Like the 2 night, like there's just so much on TV too. Like I love wrestling, and if I'm sick of it, like I mean,
it's on now. I mean, if there's a pay-per-view on Sunday, it's on 6 days a week.
Yeah, it's like yeah.
You can find something. Like if you're tired of one product, jump right on another, man. Like,
so Walsh, I have a question because I mean, Reggie, what do you call Reggie wrestled a little bit. I know you did. I don't know about Ahmad. I have been a wrestling fan since I was 3 years old. WrestleMania 3 is the first thing I remember. Well, I've never been inside a pro wrestling ring. What does it feel like taking bumps in the FCW ring, the WWF ring, WWE ring, whatever it was? I mean, what could you compare it to? Because I mean, I don't know.
That's a good question, and they are. I kind of did that in reverse because I did the indies after. Monster Factory ring was rough. FCW was better. The Raw, when I wrestled in the Raw ring, it was nice. Like you could tell the difference. It felt better. Then I went back to the indies, and you don't know what you're getting. Somewhere, I'll tell you straight. The worst was the WXW in Allentown. They had this one ring that was like literally like concrete. You never know what you're getting. So
yeah, like when I did wrestle, like bumping in like was a whole thing. They really did they did that to get you used to like how the ring felt, because like of what you just said, every ring is different. Like they do not have the same materials in every ring, the same constructors, the same anything. So like that is the first thing you had to get used to before you got to wrestle in that ring. So like he said that they just went and did their matches, and we had to do a lot of practice before that. So like I don't know. I guess the place I was going to was more of an academy, and this was like more backyard wrestling style, like you said.
Yeah, that's and like you do get used to the way it feels. Like that was like the Monster Factory. It's totally you get used to how it feels, and also the adrenaline. Like I mean, the thing is when you're in a match, you don't feel anything, and then the next day you're gonna feel
anything.
So you wrestled in the Raw ring. When was that?
That was the next morning after the Orton thing. Okay. Like we filmed it the night before, and then the next morning we like a bunch of the FCW guys were. It was in Jacksonville. So Brett DiBiase was with us too. I don't think they didn't use him on the shoot, but Brett DiBiase is a real cool guy. But like. So the next morning, a bunch of the FCW guys were just there because it's in Jacksonville, so it was like 4 hours away. And they put all of us in a ring, and we wrestled, and that was very nerve-wracking for me because I was not ready to be. Yeah, you just see takers that just there standing like this, and Shawn Michaels and all those guys, and they're just around the ring watching you. And so that was something else. But I do know how it feels, and it was a softer bumping ring.
Was it the bumps you weren't ready for, or was it the people watching you?
No, I was ready for the bumps. I wasn't ready for. Sheamus actually ran over. It was like, dude, you got to get into it. You got to get into it. And I was like, I'm trying to. Like, I was having like a panic attack basically because I'm just like, you know what I mean? Just wasn't at that point. It's still kind of a mark.
Were you just like kind of starstruck though, like with all
sort
this
of
watching you?
Kind of a combination of stuff at that point between and you know what, that also really messed with my head really bad because they only usually bring people to TV if they're thinking about using them on TV. So when I went back, that's when the guys started really, and I thought, okay, well maybe they're testing me out to see if you know what I mean. And in hindsight, I that's not what they were doing. But
what was Shawn Michaels chewing that day, Walsh?
He was still chewing that. He did. Somebody asked him that, and I think he said, well, whatever's around or something like that.
I don't know, skull.
Shawn Michaels is one of the two people that didn't shake our hands. It was Shawn Michaels. Wow. Shawn Michaels and CM Punk were the only two that looked the other way when we were walking down the hall.
Are they big time?
Is that right? And you know that's funny because CM Punk talks a bunch of shit about Hogan about for that 15th anniversary show in 2007 that Hogan walked by and didn't shake his hand, and there you go. I never knew that.
Yeah, and I don't really have any other experiences with him. So I did, like when I was at WrestleMania 27. We'll talk about that. We could do a whole podcast on WrestleMania 27, by the way, probably.
So real quick before we dip out, for this part, because I can tell this is going to be in parts here, but did you watch the FCW documentary and was it accurate or did they leave a bunch of shit out? Because I've got a feeling, listening to you, it sounds like they sugarcoated the fuck out of that.
I think they kept me out of it on purpose. If you look at the other guys they kept out of it, Ryback, Abraham Washington. Now some of the guys are there I do have a good relationship with, and I don't want to say anything that's going to get anybody in any trouble or anything. I thought the documentary was very well done. I thought they did a very good job on it. The guy Alfred, who they did like a whole piece on, was hilarious. But I still talk to him. Joe Stees, because he comments on every single one of my posts on Facebook.
Yeah.
But I was the first one of that street team, and it was something else. But I told you I had PTSD. So when I saw that thing, I started getting these flashbacks and stuff.
Wow.
And if you watch it, there's a whole section about how they kind of weeded guys out. And I had a really kind of negative when I heard that. It was weird. It was like watching it was an emotional
because you were a part of that weeding out, probably, right? Like
I was basically the one we're talking about.
See, Walsh, they were just jealous of the way you looked. I mean, that's really, and you know what, unfortunately that happens in all walks of life, but especially you, because you're in such great shape and you're a good looking guy and you're 6 foot and everything like that. Like those guys don't have that. And plus you're not sauced out of your mind either. Like what those guys would have to be to look the way you do.
And you know what this reminds me of?
Yeah.
You know what this reminds me of? Hearing about Alex Riley, you mentioned him earlier, hearing his story and how he came up even to a larger extent with him. It sounds like his career was ruined basically in a similar fashion, just like on the main roster, in front of everyone on a big scale.
Yeah, I don't want to say anything. I like him a lot.
He had great entrance music. He had the most awesome entrance music.
We kind of had similar upbringings and stuff like that. He went to Catholic school too and all that kind of stuff. And he told me stories that he eventually I've seen him talk about on the podcast back then that I know are for a fact are true. I don't want to say anything to get him in trouble or anything like that, but or I won't. But what I'm saying is I can back up stuff that he said in podcasts and other stuff. You want to talk about a guy? I mean, freaking good-looking guy. He's a big guy. I don't know, he's 6'5" or something. Bill, he's got football, background.
JR would like that.
Yeah, JR would love his football background. That's another thing me and Joe talk about. I don't. JR's sports everything being a sports analogy just drives me insane. But yeah, he's a guy that, man, you want to talk about. He's another one on the ring. Or on the mic. Him, Byron Saxton, and Abraham Washington on the mic were just incredible. Riley had, the look and all that, but I don't know if it's a Boston thing with Cena or what, but it seemed like, kind of, that's the thing with wrestling. You just don't know. There's so many different factors that you can't control. So like, you never know, like, who's going to be like the next big thing or whatever,
Walsh, did you see? Was it you or was it someone else that saw Hogan in Tampa on a what was that called? The scooter, the Vespa.
Yeah.
You saw Hogan on a Vespa?
Yeah. He it was crazy because like, and I met like everybody in wrestling, right? But actually, somebody asked Steve Kerr, because I think Steve Kern had a hand in training Hogan. Like they're both from Tampa or whatever. And somebody asked him if he could have Hogan come talk to us, and he didn't want to get involved because Dusty would get jealous. Was the situation.
So Dusty's jealous of Hogan. Yeah, it makes sense.
So, but anyway, yeah. So I never got to meet Hogan or whatever.
That's like 1 and 1 equaling 2.
And yeah, we were just in Clearwater, like by the beach where Frenchie's is or whatever, and just look over and see Hogan on a Vespa with his wife or whatever.
That's hilarious.
I guarantee you that was hers. She just didn't know how to drive it.
I have another funny story. I think Joe knows this one, where I ran into him at a gym in Orlando, like when he was in TNA, and I was training with the Dudley Boys, and like I was just living at like a extended stay hotel or whatever. I didn't have my own place, so I didn't have like a laundry. So I would go to the Nike outlets, like they have outlets everywhere there, and just buy like the whole rack of like t-shirts and stuff like for $3. So for whatever reason, I still have the shirt, but I walk into Gold's Gym in Orlando, and it's just the shirt is just red with Nike in like yellow and orange. Like, Hogan, like
Ed Hogan.
You know what I mean? And he's like the first person I see, and I'm just like, hey, he was there with Bischoff. Like all the TNA guys worked out there. And I was just like, oh, I look like such a mark right now. I was like, you know what I mean? So,
Starstruck strikes again.
Next time, I think I still have that shirt just because of the story.
You should post that on your Instagram, Walsh. That's fantastic.
Don't misrepresent marks, okay? There's nothing wrong with being a mark.
Dude, man, like we own. I still collect toys, so.
Like
I collect belts.
I got something funny to show you while you're on the camera too.
What do you have there, man? Oh, is that Super Cena? Such a fucking mark. Oh, I hate you sometimes. Put it away, man. Come on. You always find a way to work John Cena. It's bad enough both his titles are in your fucking background.
Like seeing the winged eagle. That's definitely the best, right? The Hogan belt.
Oh, yeah. You got to have a winged eagle.
Yeah, I have one of those too.
Gotta have a winged eagle. He has a warrior winged eagle.
You like the Ultimate Warrior? Here's your winged eagle.
There you go. That's nice. That is nice. Yeah, big Warrior fan. So.
But yo, Matt, we really appreciate you, and hopefully, all right. Well, so this is part 1. So we're definitely going to do part 2 very soon. Again,
Walsh has some great stories about WrestleMania that we need to get to.
So we'll talk about WrestleMania 27. We'll talk about your time on the Indies, and I still want to get some more of this FCW locker room shit out of you. I want to get some more of that.
I'll talk to Joe, and we'll kind of prioritize some stuff. And
yeah, he'll pick your brain a little bit, get that stuff to the front of the brain and all that, right?
Yeah. And right, I'm happy to talk. Like I said, I'm not in the business anymore, so anything I can do, help you guys.
And you're always welcome just to come on and run down the week with us and everything. I mean, you're still watching, so you can give.
Walsh has a great perspective because he knows, like, from his experience. I mean, he experienced like the WWE, like the sort of like the brainwashing and what they're looking at and different things that they see and the care. So when we talk a lot, he points a lot of that stuff out to me that the way they think, and right. you can tell he's right just by watching the product. I mean,
I mean, everything he says has the total ring of truth to it. Like I'm 100%. all for this right here. But again, I appreciate you. So right now we're gonna get into our outro. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. And a special thank you to Matt Walsh, a.k.a. Joseph Canterbury and FCW for coming on, being our first interview. And he's dropping bombs on y'all, man. Y'all wasn't ready for that Dusty Rhodes shit. Woo! I can't wait to hear some more of this, man. And it also exposes the dark side of wrestling, man. I mean, my man got fucked up down there for no reason at all, but for the fact he had it. And they were jealous. That's crazy. Matt, you got something on the way out for us?
No, just look forward to it, and I do also have my neuropsychological evaluation I can bring on to back up all my claims. So,
absolutely. Joey Wrestling, what you got for the people on the way out?
Well, no, I just like I said, Matt taught me pretty much everything I know about working out, and he's one of the nicest guys I've ever met. He's one of my best friends. So, Walsh, I appreciate you. You're great, and thanks for everything you've done for me for a long, long time. It just,
Absolutely. All right, Antonio, Marks, man, grown man, John Cena, put that fucking toy down.
What you talking about?
I want to see
everybody, thank you for tuning in. It's our Raw Crew's first interview, and I hope y'all come back because I'm pretty sure this will not be Matt's last time on the show. We got a lot more to pick his brain for, and we appreciate every single one of y'all. Like, share, and subscribe. Come on back.
Thank y'all again, and I am The Dark Show, and we're out. And it's true, it's damn true.